I'm Eric Pace, principal, West Bloomfield High School, and we have welcomed all the parents of incoming freshmen to a West Bloomfield School District and also West Bloomfield High School presentation for what to expect as you go through the scheduling process for your 8th grader going to 9th grade, and also the different options that we have within our school district and within our high school for how to best meet the needs of your learners. So thank you for joining us tonight. A couple quick things about the webinar format if you haven't had one before. There is not a chat option, but there is a Q&A. So you may see that as one of your choices in your toolbar. The Q&A will send questions to us as panelists. We will moderate that to a degree. We won't be able to really see it while we're speaking. But if there's any frequently asked questions or questions that you find important, you can click a thumbs up on that and it'll rise to the top for us. And we'll address any of those frequently asked questions during appropriate times. Also, this is recorded and will be shared with families after the event and posted for viewing at whenever you need. So those are just a couple quick housekeeping items before we get started. I would like to allow the administrators to introduce themselves. So again, I'm Eric Pace, West Bloomfield High School principal, and I'm gonna go ahead and let my assistant principals introduce themselves, and we'll start with Ms. Susie Eisner.
Good evening, everybody. I am Susie Eisner. I'm one of the assistant principals at West Bloomfield High School. I'm also the parent of a West Bloomfield High Schooler. And Mr. Glintz is up next.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for coming out tonight. I am Jamie Glentz, assistant principal over student relations. So my main duties are discipline and any student needs as well as attendance. And currently I deal with all COVID related issues. So thank you once again for coming out tonight. And next we have Dr. Stephanie Griffin.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Dr. Griffin. Two of the main duties that I have at the high school is the administrator over special education, and I'm also the person that sends you all the wonderful testing information. So if you are looking for more information on testing, it is coming very soon.
Good evening. I'm Jennifer Bennett, principal at Lakers Online and West Bloomfield Innovation High School. And I am joined tonight with my great team from Lakers Online as well as West Bloomfield. And next up is Mr. Borders.
Hi, everybody. I'm Morrison Borders. I'm the associate principal for Lakers Online. We like to introduce our two great deans, Mr. Avery and Mrs. Weller.
Hello, everybody. My name is Mr. Avery, and I am a Dean of Instruction for Lakers Online, now known as West Bloomfield Innovation High School.
And I'm Stacy Weller. I am another Dean of Instruction at Lakers Online and our new Innovation High School, and a parent of 2 students at our OEC here in West Bloomfield.
Hi, everyone. Nice to see so many of you joining us tonight. My name is Ashley Larkin, and I am the head of school for Oakland Early College. And I am going to send it over to the WBHS counseling team.
And good evening. My name is Karen Brody. I'm head of the Department for Counseling. I am thrilled for you to get a chance this evening to meet all of us. We have a wealth of experience. Many of us are parents of graduates of West Bloomfield High School or future graduates of West Bloomfield High School. So we're going to let people introduce themselves by the alphabet because that's how children are assigned to us.
8th grade families, my name is Kelly Casanelli, and I have the last names that start with A through CU. It's great to see you here tonight, and I look forward to working with you next year.
Hello, Laker Nation. My name is Joanne Vejanovich, and I have the students with the last name CV through HA. We're excited to work with your young people as they kind of make their journey into high school. So we're fired up for you.
And again, my name is Karen Brody. I have last names HB through LO.
Good evening. My name is Lori Falk, and I'm the counselor filling in for Felicia Newman. So on behalf of Felicia Newman and myself, I'd like to welcome all of you and your students, children to WB and Laker Nation. Thank you.
Good evening, parents. I am Lisa Tompkins. I serve the letters PR through TE. Also a very proud parent of 2 WB alum, Thanks for coming and spending your time with us this evening, and I look forward to working with you all.
Good evening, parents. I am Mr. Hepper, John Hepper. I am the counselor for all of those last names that start with the letters TF right on through the end of the alphabet. I am also one of the support people for our Michigan Virtual and Edgenuity classes right now. And I am really looking forward to talking about the future of your students and looking forward to a brand new fresh start school year next year at the high school for them.
Hi, everyone. My name is Noelle Essig. I'm the college and career counselor in the high school. And I work most in detail with your child in the 11th and 12th grade. I work in tandem with your counselor and just welcome you to our parent night tonight.
So one of the main things as a parent myself, and I have 3 graduates of West Bloomfield High School, and if we were in person, I would love to say how many of you are parents of a child where this in your family, this is the first child going to high school. And that is a very big deal. And so one of the things we want to make sure that you know is what the counselors are here to help you with. We have a whole list of things, and you can see them on the screen here. Certainly, we're going to be working with scheduling, which is what you're going to hear a lot about tonight. But we are also here to talk about social emotional issues or conflict resolution. And then at the bottom, as Ms. Essig was just talking about, even as a student becomes a freshman and starts West Bloomfield High School, we right from the very beginning want to help them develop a plan and a path to get them to their eventual career, whether it goes through the military, a job, college, whatever the course may be. We are here to help them with that very thing. And we will show them many, many tools, both online and in person, that they can use to help develop an eventual career.
All right, one of the major differences between middle school and high school are the graduation requirements. So this is something that we as counselors do keep track of for each of your students to make sure that they're on track for graduation and taking all of the necessary classes to meet those requirements. So with these requirements, this is an overview of the next 4 years and what they will need to finish or complete in order to walk across that stage graduation as a senior. So the biggest thing to remember is that students need 25 credits total, and to earn those credits, they will pass their classes at the high school. Each semester class is worth a half credit, and each full year class then is worth a full credit or 1 credit. So when you break it down by subject area, for math, there are 4 credits that are required for all graduates of West Bloomfield: 1 credit of Algebra 1, 1 credit of Geometry, 1 credit of Algebra 2, and 1 credit of their senior math class. For our English or language arts subject area, 4 credits are required for graduation: 1 credit of English 9, which they'll take in 9th grade, 1 credit of American Lit, 1 credit their junior year of either world literature, multicultural literature, or AP language, and then their final credit, their senior year, full credit of English. For social studies, there are 3 credits that are required: a half credit of civics and a half credit of econ, which most of our students will meet their freshman year, 1 full credit of American history, and 1 credit of world history. And then for our science curriculum, they need to meet 3 credits: 1 credit of biology, which is typically in 9th grade. In 10th grade, they can choose between integrated physical science or honors chemistry, so 1 credit of that. And then as a junior, they choose between earth science or honors physics, 1 credit of either of those. In addition to the 4 core areas, they do require also a half credit or 1 class of PE or gym. They also need a half credit of health, 1 credit of the fine and applied arts classes. And then for their global language, they have to meet the requirement of 2 years or 2 credits of a language, or they can take 1 year of a language and substitute the 2nd year with another fine arts credit. So when we think about the next 4 years for your 8th graders, it really is important to think about kind of what that next step is after high school. And so we start this conversation at the beginning in 9th grade to make sure that students are not only meeting their graduation requirements, but are also meeting the requirements for whatever their plans are for after high school. So when we talk about the college process and what that looks like for after their senior year, most colleges do recommend that they stick with these core subjects. So 4 years of English, 4 years of math, 3 years of science, 3 years of social studies, at least 2, possibly 3 years of the same foreign language, to round out their schedule with the fine arts, which if you'll notice, a lot of those subjects are those graduation requirements we just talked about. Colleges do also recommend that students are taking some rigorous classes, that they're looking for a challenge. They're also going to look for their grades. In high school, their GPA is something that will get calculated every semester with the classes that they choose. And then in addition to the academics, they're also looking at what involvement they have here at the school or outside of the school, and what type of leadership roles they're fulfilling while they're in high school.
I'm here to talk kind of about your child's mental health and also letting you know that there's been probably a lot of changes in middle school for your child. And if they haven't happened yet, where, you know, there's a lot of usual eye rolls or there is a lot of like attitude that might be present there. Those are some common teenager issues that we always kind of hear about that parents have talked about. We are here to kind of help navigate. Is this something normal, or is this something a little bit more kind of going on with your child here too? You will get through this, I promise. I know that we're throwing already a lot at you because we're just already talking about college in our last slide, and we're just getting them into high school. We are here to make your experience great and also to be able to support your kids and their mental health. One of the biggest things that we do is making sure your kids are getting involved, and that we're here to help support them if they are having any type of mental health issues, problems, feeling very overwhelmed. One of the best things you can also do is to make sure that you're choosing the best program that might fit your students' learning style. And we are going to hear a little bit about other programs that you can choose into.
All right, so in West Bloomfield School District in the past 12 months, almost to the day, just like everywhere else, we've experienced quite a bit of change, unanticipated, and a lot of it not within our control. That being said, we also learned a lot about how students interact with school, how we can deliver instruction, and how students may be able to learn in different environments or through different modalities than we ever explored before. And so what we've decided to do as a school district is leverage what we've learned and be able to kind of customize learning experiences for your students. So for the rest of the program tonight, you're going to hear from the administration and then the counseling team from the high school from all different programs, kind of a brief snapshot of what we're all about, and then some ways to contact or get more information if they sound appealing to you. And then maybe some more detailed information toward the end about how you're going to be scheduling for the high school, how you're going to select classes, and then kind of what the next steps are. So we're going to go ahead and move on to the first of our programs for this evening that we're going to discuss. That is going to be Innovation High School.
Good evening, everybody. Again, my name is Mr. Borders, Morrison Borders, and I'm going to discuss West Bloomfield Innovation High School. We're rebranding Lakers Online because our program is going to be vastly different next year than it is currently. So it's going to be a 100% virtual program. But even though we're 100% virtual, we are still going to have in-person contact activities with, excuse me, with some field trips, some career-based field trips, some college-based field trips to really get kids in the know about what they can expect at the next level. Because we are 100% online, we have a lot of flexibility in terms of how we schedule students. Again, because we're online, we're going to have a lot of contact with professionals and careers that students are interested in. Students are actually going to be introduced to 12 different career pathways in their first year. So they really get a hands-on experience with what type of possible career they would like to move to after high school. And that could mean that maybe they go directly into that career, or they know exactly what college they want to go to and exactly what classes they want to take. And even more importantly, they know what they don't want to do, right? Because what we know is that college is expensive. And so we want students to understand exactly what path they want to be on or don't want to be on as they gain access into that next level. There's going to be a strong focus at WBHS on our portrait of a graduate. So those are our 4 pieces of the puzzle, so to speak, excuse me, in terms of what skills we want our students to have when they leave. Those things are collaboration, communication, critical thinking, and being a contributor to your group, your field, your family, your neighborhood. Our program will utilize small group and individual learning style support. Students will have flexibility in the schedule, as I said earlier, and within that flexibility gives us opportunity to provide more support for students. All of our classes will be taught by West Bloomfield High School or West Bloomfield School District teachers. And most importantly, I think what, as Ms. Casanelli talked about, the engagement piece outside of the classroom, all of our students will be able to participate in any club or sport offered at West Bloomfield High School. The path to success for IHS is going to lie in the intimate way that we get students involved. They're going to have active field experiences with professionals. We're going to base what students do based on student interests. We're going to have electives that are based on career options that students are interested in. And we're going to have a rigorous academic schedule. All of those things put together will equal a student who is college and career ready when they are done with their 4 years at WBIHS. If you would like more information on our program, you can email any of those names there on the screen. Also, if you go to the West Bloomfield School District website, if you click on parents, there's a link for webinars, and there is a full 40-minute webinar where we go into a much deeper dive in the program. But again, if you have individual questions, you can go ahead and email any one of those names on the screen. And you can also go view our webinar on the West Bloomfield School District website. I would like to introduce Mrs. Ashley Larkin, as she will kind of go through our Oakland Early College option.
Thank you. Hello again, everyone. I am Ashley Larkin, and I'm head of school for Oakland Early College. I'm very excited to be talking to you tonight about what Oakland Early College is, and very thankful to the district and the high school for letting us be part of this evening tonight. So Oakland Early College is a dual enrollment high school. We exist on OCC's Orchard Ridge campus. Students that are enrolled in our school take high school courses while also taking college courses at the same time. Those college courses are taken through OCC. Students can earn a minimum of 30 transferable credits up to an associate's degree. All tuition and fees are paid for, as well as required textbooks. The three pillars of Oakland Early College are college, culture, and community. And so we really focus on each of those three things with our students: the college piece in terms of dual enrollment, the culture piece in terms of community time and connecting our students with one another, and community in terms of giving back. We truly believe that giving back is a habit. And so students are engaged in service learning opportunities throughout the entire school year. We are open to students entering 9th, 10th, and 11th grade. Students that are currently in 8th grade will have to have completed Algebra 1. Algebra 1 is not a course that we offer at Oakland Early College. So any students that may be looking at this as an option for next year have to have taken Algebra 1. We do have an application process. So the first step in our process is to have a family meeting with me. There's more information on our website. If you go to oaklandearlycollege.org, under the admissions tab, you'll find a timeline of different steps that you can take in terms of applying to OEC. And if you have additional questions, you can email me. My email is included in the slide. Thank you very much.
All right, and we're going to continue the conversation and talk about West Bloomfield High School and the opportunities that we have there. I want to reiterate that no program that you're hearing about tonight is necessarily better or worse than the other, but really just leveraging the strengths of each unique opportunity and the learners that are in front of us. So you might hear some overlap when we talk about the high school from what you hear with OEC or with Innovation Campus for our high schools. So like an example of that is Ms. Larkin talked about being able to receive college courses at the same time as high school courses in a college campus environment. We also offer dual enrollment through the high school, but you're going to be a high school student and do the dual enrollment at a separate time. So there's just different ways to get to those pathways. What I want to talk to you about before I turn it back over to the counselors to answer some of these things in detail is, what is the high school experience, and specifically West Bloomfield High School, all about? And, we've all used or heard the phrase, the best 4 years of your life. And I was reminded today how long it's been since I graduated from high school. And I look back on it, and it's still some of the maybe the best 4 years that I had. I didn't know what was going on in the world around me necessarily. I had a brief understanding of that, but I did know a lot about my friends. I was learning a lot about myself, my family, and there was a lot to be involved in and to enjoy. And we want to be able to emulate that experience, for our students. So, some of the key things outside of the academic requirements that you heard earlier are we're trying to best prepare students for what's to come. But in that, you're going to see hopefully some enjoyment in school, or a strong sense of community at the high school, and a real positive energy. We call ourselves Laker Nation. And, if you haven't seen before, we were rated the top student section for our football games in the state of Michigan. We have a extremely strong theater arts and performing arts program. We have amazing, visual arts. It's just one of those things that I think the energy of the campus speaks for itself. In addition to that, we're building a lot more flexibility in learning. Flexibility surrounding our academic stuff that you heard earlier, but also the social experiences for students, mirroring the 4 C's that Mr. Borders discussed earlier. So when students leave us, we want to make sure that they are collaborators, contributors, critical thinkers, and communicators. And those skills kind of supersede that academic knowledge they're going to get and work in conjunction with it to help them be best prepared when they walk out our doors for whatever's next to come. West Bloomfield High School for next year plans to deliver in-person instruction every single day on a block schedule. So we have 7 period days. Somebody asked the question earlier, how many electives do you get? And can Honors Chem or AP Gov replace other classes? And yes, they can. So your AP Gov might replace your civics class. Your Honors Chem would replace the integrated physical science class, but you still have to get the number of years and credits of academic things in. In addition, though, to that in-person experience with those classes, we are going to be utilizing some hybrid or blended classes. Those will be classes that have a split between some in-person and then some virtual or asynchronous work. The type of class that will be offered in that model will be geared more toward upperclassmen that have their own transportation and towards a subject matter that would be conducive to that type of learning. So we don't have those necessarily identified until our students select courses and we know when we're going to be offering them and who's teaching them. And then finally, we will have a few limited remote course offerings for families or for students that are going to be able to handle a fully remote option. It'll be very limited in selection, maybe a section of English or a section of math per grade level, things like that. But we will have, again, a limited opportunity for remote. And we plan to build these over the next 18 to 24 months to be more comprehensive and have a lot more student choice in the way that they receive their learning. So the main question then for you is, how do you maximize the 4 years that you have with us to get the most out of us? That's what we're here for, is to give you everything we have and for you and the students to be able to take that and best utilize it for what comes next. So those questions are going to be answered now by our counselors throughout the rest of the program. Some of the unique opportunities we have at West Bloomfield High School: we have strong university partnerships with a variety of colleges, universities in the area, Lawrence Tech University being one of them. We have our engineering students who participate in internships through LTU, and they also teach for us. The question was asked earlier, if they already took Algebra 1, do they have to take it again? And we are able to offer math courses that continue to accelerate beyond traditional 4-year plan that you saw. So after AP Calculus at the high school, we offer more classes as taught by LTU professors, Calc 3, differential equations, things like that. In the Engineering Academy as a 4-year program, it does end with an internship experience. We have our arts, our business, our programming, and choirs. Within those, we have a variety of pathways. For example, through business, we have our marketing and accounting pathways. We have sports and entertainment marketing, fashion design, and so on. So as you go through your course book, you're going to see with a large comprehensive high school, we do have a large variety of pathways a student can take. We have up to 28 AP classes, depending on the student needs of that year, that are offered. Those classes can receive college credit upon successful completion of the AP test, and also provide, more importantly, a high level of rigor that colleges and universities will be looking for in terms of experience. And that goes the same for our honors classes. So we may have honors classes that kind of prep you for AP, or just up the rigor from the traditional pathway. We have 28, actually we have more than that now. We have over 30 varsity sports that are offered at the high school level. We have, I can't even tell you the number of clubs now. I think it's doubled in the past 3 years with the number of clubs and experiences students can participate in. And there's a club for everybody. And if there's not one for you and your students, we are open to opening new ones. So, for example, we had a student who came to us and wanted to start a video game club. And he was able to do that, became the president of it, has members. They not only played and critiqued, but also designed video games. Student leadership, peer mentorship, are just a variety of things that students can be involved in as co-curricular or extracurricular. And then finally, with the internships, you'll see there co-op and medical mentorship. We also have professional apprenticeship. So medical mentorship would be in your senior year after completing a rigorous science curriculum, teacher recommendation and high GPA. Selective process will allow you to place with a doctor in an internship experience in the medical field. This is kind of a pre-med crash course in what you'll experience as you go through pre-med or med school in a residency program. So it really allows students that opportunity to test the waters before dumping a lot of money into that program in college, but also be able to get a leg up on competition when it comes to how to best prepare. So outside of those academic, co-curricular, extracurricular opportunities, you'll see their culture and diversity. As a high school and as a district, we're extremely proud of the culture that we have built, the energy and the spirit of our campus, and also of the diversity of our students. We don't have necessarily a majority population in any way. And when it comes to racial, ethnic, socioeconomic, religious diversity, it is something that everybody is part of a unique group. And it's really, it's a reason I have 2 young kids. I live outside the district and they come to our school district. And that's a big part of that is, you know, we really do represent the community at large. And it's something where I think it's a very strong experience, no matter what you choose for you and your students. And Jumpstart, we'll end with that before I give it to the counselors. When we come in August, we'll have an opportunity for the freshmen to come a little bit early and get a jump start on the school year with learning some of the things about our campus, getting specific freshman opportunities to talk to their peer mentors, to get their schedules, to find out what it means to be a freshman in the high school. So don't think that this is kind of the end all for everything. This is more of an informational thing for you, and then we'll continue to support along the way. All right, so what do you need to do next? And we're going to go ahead and turn it over to the counseling team.
All right, bear with us. It's Mr. Hepper again, one of the counselors. What I am doing right now is I'm about to put up on the screen the actual form that you and your students are going to use to fill out their classes. Now, one thing I do want to mention that as we're going through this, regardless of how you're planning on doing school next year, whether that's WBHS, whether that's Oakland Early College or WBIHS, everyone's going to fill out this form. This is the way that you're going to share with the counselors right now the list of classes your student wants to take. Within here, there's going to be an option to talk about if you're planning to opt completely into the virtual and some of the other things. So I will show all of those things to you. But I do want to stress, number one, that everyone fills this one out. And that way, no matter where you end up, we've got classes ready for you. The second thing I want to point out, parents, is that this is actually a form for your students to fill out, but we do want you to be there with them. And the way that we know that this is for students is that they need to be signed in on their WB email address, okay? So it will show up that it comes from their WB email address, and this is to help prepare them for what the next 4 years of scheduling are going to look like. On this front page, after you double check and make sure that that's the one that says class of 2025, because that is your child's grad year. There are a couple of really good videos here. One of them being, again, another summary video of all of the different ways and tools that we go through. Some of the things that we're going through tonight and some more detailed things about scheduling. There's also a really nice link here that is going to go to our course description book, which we'll talk about a little bit later in this presentation. Scheduling sheet, which is kind of a nice shortcut of what classes are offered to incoming 9th graders, because not everything in the course book is available to them just yet. It indicates some indication of which classes are NCAA approved for those future college level athletes. and a couple of other tools. Now, the one last thing I want to talk about as we go through this, because there's been some questions about credits and things like that, and electives, and it gets a little complicated because we have full year classes and half year classes. So again, remember, full year is 1 credit, half year is half credit, and at the end of this, between the core classes and the electives, we need it to add up to 7, okay? So it's all about adding up to 7. So when you click into this form, and I've already started to fill this out, your student's first name, last name, what school they are currently enrolled at. If they're in one of the schools that has cohorts, let us know which cohort they're in. And then select who's your counselor. Now, I may be Mr. Hepper, but since my last name starts with an H-E, I am actually in Ms. Brody's caseload. So I'm going to select Ms. Brody here. We would really appreciate a phone number where we can talk to your student in case something goes on, since we're not going to be able to meet face-to-face with your students like we have in the past. This is a really helpful tool for us to be able to get in contact with them quickly if we have any questions or concerns about their schedule. We want to know a little bit about what their goal is. That way it helps us to give some idea of extra tools or classes they might be interested in if they're struggling. And we want to make sure that they have watched the scheduling video. Again, there's a lot of information that's important to them to see. Now from there, some quick questions about if they think they might be planning on playing college level sports in any way, shape, or form. I was not headed in that direction, but your student might be. So let us know. And lastly, we want to know, did they apply to any specialty programs so that we can keep track and monitor which programs were they approved for or not approved for. I did not apply to any, so I'm going to keep that one empty and keep on going. So now we finally get to the selecting classes. First option, English. Oh, hey, there's only English 9. That's on purpose. Everyone as a 9th grader takes English 9. Same thing for biology. If you're one of those students that's going to take honors chemistry, that actually is an additional elective. We do have some students that double up on that. I'll show you where to put that in a minute. I was keeping with the traditional track here of Algebra 1, but you can indicate if you are completed Algebra 1 and moving on to something else, or perhaps there's a different reason you need a different than one of these 3 classes. When we get to the social studies, I'm keeping with the traditional track of economics and civics, but some of you might be planning on doing AP government and filling economics at a different time, or doing AP government and economics at the same time. So again, keeping track of where we're at credit-wise. For most students, we do personal health and PE to get them out of the way so we get opportunity junior, senior year to have some really fun electives, but that's a choice to make. Foreign language, whatever your child plans on doing, a lot take it their first year. Some are coming in having already completed a full year of Spanish. And I do want to emphasize full year. If you've only taken one of the 1 semester languages at the middle school, that does not qualify. But if you've completed the full year and have a recommendation to move on to Spanish 2, then absolutely select that. And if you've got any electives, all right, any music electives. Now we get into the fun part. What are the classes that your children are excited to take? And we ask them to enter a lot of choices. So you will see here that I started entering a whole bunch of classes. You're going to notice that this goes all the way up to 7 electives. And if you're counting along with me, you're going, Mr. Hepper, that's way more electives than 7 credits. I know that. The other important thing is we need alternate classes. Classes fill up, conflicts happen. The more classes we have, the more likely it is that you will have classes that you and your child will have classes that you want. The other thing is, if you opted out of some of those classes and picked a bunch of half-credit electives, you might need 6 or 7 of them. So you can keep on going in here in these electives. And actually, you know what? I just remembered I wanted to do honors chemistry. And I said that is an elective. So I'm going to go down here into the science section and put that first and foremost. We will look at these in somewhat of a priority order. So put the top electives first, the ones that you're less interested in at the bottom. And you know what? I think 8 choices is good for me. So I'm going to move on. All right. So now that we've picked most of the classes, a few other things that we want to double check. Do you need an against recommendation form? This is for students that want to take a class that they are not recommended for. Maybe you passed Spanish 1, but your teacher didn't recommend you to go on to Spanish 2 and you want to take it anyway. Maybe it's Honors Chem or AP Government. We have forms that allow students to do that, but we really try to stress using your recommendations to pick classes as best you can. And if you have any questions, comments for your counselors, us to know, please let us know here. We will take a close look at them. And a few other questions for you to look through and just click yes to. Make sure you read them and understand them. And then last but not least, this is where you're going to tell us what you want in terms of virtual options for next year. This first question here specifically is if you do not want any virtual type of classes for next year. If you want to make sure your student is a 100% in person for all 7 classes, you are going to select an opt out. Otherwise, your student will be considered for some of the virtual or hybrid classes Mr. Pace was talking about. If you are looking for a 100% virtual or remote pathway, you're going to want to select this second box. Again, please click only if you are requesting a remote only option for all 7 classes. Okay, so I'm going to opt out of any virtual hybrid. I do not want the remote only path. And that's going to take me to, again, just some verifications. Student name, parent name, parents. We want your email address too, because if we have any major concerns, we also want to bring you in the loop. And after that, hit submit and you are good to go. I know that was a lot of information. Some of it's going to get recovered in the rest of the presentation. And again, feel free to watch this again, this section, as you're filling it out if you need some extra help. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it back over to the other counselors.
All right, so thank you, Mr. Hepper, for going through that example with us. Hopefully that helps make the Google form a little bit easier to fill out. Remember to take it step by step and to make sure you read each question carefully. I just want to do one other plug. If your student is considering to kind of take one of these advanced courses, either Honors Chem or AP Government, it is important that your student and the parents do sit down and talk about what kind of commitment that is going to be. Honors Chem and AP Government are advanced courses and do require a higher workload. So the student needs to make sure that they are ready to tackle that next year. If it is decided and the student has the recommendation from their teachers, then they can select those classes on their Google form. There is a signed parent consent form that we will send out to students who select those classes, just to make sure that the parent and student is aware of their choice, and that will kind of lock it in for them. If you decide to do a course against recommendation, so you don't get a recommendation from your teacher and you want to take Honors Chem or AP Government, there is another form that you will need to sign, and that will lock in your choice. And unfortunately, we won't be able to make any changes if that's what you decide. But we strongly urge your students to talk to their teachers to figure out what classes they have been recommended for, to make sure that they are selecting the correct course for next year.
Thank you, Kelly. And Mr. Hepper has done an excellent job on the review of the courses that you will consider for your incoming freshmen. But just a few reminders once again, we ask that you also give alternates for your electives. So that is very, very important. So when you're meeting with your child and they're thinking about their elective courses, make sure it's something that they're really interested in. Don't have them select computer-aided drafting if they have absolutely no interest in that course, because if they put that, they may possibly get their alternate. So when they're taking their alternates or choosing them, make sure they're choosing them wisely and seriously. If they choose it, again, they may get it and they have to keep it. Again, we use these alternates and expect them to like them as much as their real courses. So for example, if your child was really, really excited about taking drama, and for whatever reason that drama course is not available, and they choose foods as their alternate, they will probably get that particular class. So please, please, please take your alternate selections very easily for your elective courses. And again, just as a friendly reminder, this is everything kind of in one slide here that Mr. Hepper just reviewed. So our incoming ninth graders, the schedule is pretty typical for most students. But again, you want to make sure if you're taking any of those honors or AP level courses that any prerequisites are met. Most of the incoming freshmen, there aren't a lot of prereqs for the core classes, but make sure you take a good look at the course description book, which Mrs. Falk is going to discuss in a few minutes about prerequisites. Again, Mrs. Casanelli did an excellent job about the teacher recommendations. Of course, we respect our teachers and their input, and they've had experience with your child. So we want to make sure that we keep the teacher recommendations in mind. NCAA, also in the course description book, you can see the courses that qualify as NCAA courses. And if your son or daughter is a future Tristan Jackson from WBHS, we want to make sure that we're putting them in the correct courses, even in ninth grade. So keep that in mind. Summer homework, make sure you're reading your emails, looking at the school website. I think the only incoming ninth grade class that might have summer homework, correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Pace, might be English 9. It's been a different year, and we know our students need a little break. So it may not be an abundance of summer homework, but please make sure you're reading the website, checking your emails for any current updates on that. And again, Mrs. Vejanovich talked about mental health, and we want to make sure that you are, sitting down with your child and really putting everything on the table in terms of how they spend their time. If it's, school, if they have to help out at home after school, if they're in extracurricular activities. I talked to a student today and she explained to me her dance schedule. It's like a part-time job. So you want to really, really keep in mind and balance your kids' schedule with whatever they're doing outside of school. That is very important. So the typical ninth grade schedule, can we go back, please? Thank you, Karen. The typical ninth grade schedule usually consists of English 9 for a full year, biology for a full year, civics and economics is 1 semester each, and they've already touched upon some students may be recommended for AP government instead of the civics. And the AP government would be a full year, not a semester. Some students also do AP micro and AP macro, both the full year in place of economics. Again, that's all about teacher recommendations too. Algebra 1, some of our students are in Algebra 1 now at the middle school, and they may come in honors geometry. Again, we'll look at recommendations. Health paired with PE, most of our ninth graders do that, the health and PE. Some even take it over summer school. More information with summer school programs will be shared. Language, full year. All right, so that's already 5 core classes: English, math, science, social studies, foreign language. If you do health and PE, that's 6, which would leave you with just 2 more semester classes or some year-long elective. So you want to keep all of this in mind. Total, you should have 7 courses. You should list at least 3 to 4 alternates. And again, keep your alternates consideration very seriously. Now the next slide. So it's a lot of information. And in addition to the wonderful counseling staff, your child will also have a peer mentor. We have outstanding upperclassmen that have been selected to help usher your incoming freshmen into West Bloomfield High School. You may receive a phone call and or an email this summer saying, "Hi, I'm Lisa Tompkins, and I am a junior at West Bloomfield High School, and I'd like to welcome your daughter Nia to West Bloomfield High School." And they'll actually meet them for one day before the school year begins. They'll meet them face to face, them along with a few other mentees, and they will be there as an extra level of support in addition to the counselors for the first semester. So we're excited about that program. And one day your child could possibly be a peer mentor if they apply for the program as well.
All right, thank you, Lisa, very much. I'm Lori Falk, filling in for Felicia Newman, and I'm going to go over with you the information about the course description guide This book I find to be very, very helpful, and I would encourage all of you to sit down along with your child and go over some of the information in here. You will find each course described with a nice paragraph that kind of summarizes what's going to go on in the course. It will tell you if the course is either a full year or a semester. It will tell you what grade level they need to be in to take it, whether there's a prerequisite course required or not, what area it meets for a graduation requirement, and whether or not it's NCAA approved. Here's an example of some of the English department curriculum. You can see the choices to meet graduation requirements here for English 9. We have English Literature 9. 10th grade, the students have a chance of taking American Literature, American Dream, regular literature, or honors American literature. 11th grade, we have even more options. And then 12th grade, there is a full array of courses that are available for your students to choose from. So I encourage you all to read over this book, look at it, have good conversations about it, and talk to your kids, because this is very, very helpful in planning. If you're looking to try to create what we would call a 4-year plan, where do you want to be at the end and how are you going to get there? You can see all of this information in this well-crafted book. Thank you.
Hi again, my name is Noelle Essig and I'm the College and Career Counselor. Just want to briefly remind you there are many ways to stay in touch with us as a counseling department. We put out a Counselor Connection newsletter that is sent out every other week to families, 9th through 12th grade, to parents and the students. I put that together, and as a department, that's really our way of communicating with you. Rather than bombarding you with several emails per day, we're putting it in the Counselor Connection newsletter. I will remind your children to give me a minute at least every other week to just read what's in this issue. I'm the mother of teens. I know they don't read their emails, so parents, if you could stay on it, to remind them to get in the habit now that they are in high school of checking that email. We don't want them to miss out on opportunities. So reading that newsletter, I think you will find to be very helpful. We also have a pretty active Twitter feed. It's at WBHS Counseling. Would love for you to follow me there. The counseling website has links to all of the forms and information that you have seen here tonight. The video will be added once we download that. So go and check out our counseling website. And then we also have a counseling Canvas page. And once your child is in that junior, senior year, a College and Career Center Canvas page with lots of information. And feel free at any point, once you're at the high school, email us, let us know if there's ways that we can help you. And students do have that opportunity as well to schedule appointments with us via an online Google form a Google Calendar. And then, as always, if you have questions, please feel free to email us. We are here to help. If you're not receiving emails from us somehow, it means that maybe your email address needs to be updated. Any of the building secretaries would be happy to update that. Or maybe you need to check your filters, and maybe by mistake you have us going to spam. So we really care. We're here to help you and answer your questions.
Academic summer school. In the past, we have offered an academic summer school. We are getting plans together. I know that there was a mailing out, and as they're finalizing plans of what classes they're going to offer here at West Bloomfield High School for advancement, which I know is usually our biggest one for PE and health, so it opens up your child's schedule to take other classes that they're interested in. So if you just will stay tuned, we know that there's going to be information even coming out in the next few weeks as they finalize the plans kind of going forward.
So I want to thank my entire department who have done an excellent job tonight explaining the very interesting options all of you are going to have as new freshmen at West Bloomfield High School. We also want to let you know that we are going to hold an open Zoom on Monday, March 22nd, and you can see the times. We have already passed those Zoom links, and it's by counselor. and they've been emailed to the students. We were kind of thinking that the students can come and talk to us on the Zoom opposite of their cohort. So we're going to be sitting there ready to answer questions. That's this coming Monday, if they have them. I think the more important thing is at the bottom of the screen. The Google form that Mr. Hepper so beautifully explained has to be submitted by March 23rd. Now, I've already received some emails where people said, I was so excited and I started filling things out and I submitted it. And at that point, see, it's very hard to go back. You can't resubmit. So we do want you to take enough time to talk as a family, look at all these things and options in that course book and everything, and then submit it. But the deadline to submit the Google form is Tuesday, March 23rd. So we wanted to make sure you know that. Now, just to finish up this section, I wanted to talk very briefly, again, to those of you parents where this child is the beginning of your high school career as a parent. And sometimes it can be frightening, it can be exciting. There's so many options. But here are just some hints that we have all picked up over the years. It's important to keep talking to your student. Sometimes they don't necessarily volunteer information, so you have to ask those clever questions, but you want to keep talking with them at all times. Find out what they're enjoying, what's bothering them, and sort of their hopes and dreams as they look towards the future. Another very good suggestion is having an agenda or planner. And as parents, you really shouldn't be filling it out for them, but to check it once in a while to see if they're filling it out. Because that, as we know, is one of those adult skills that has to be practiced. And in the 9th grade, that is a big deal. Sometimes teachers will hand out a study guide and your student may have never seen something like that. So you can give them some advice on what it is to be used for. How often should they refer to it? Because again, consistent studying over time will improve their grades. Please talk to them about pathways and careers. They have the right to change their mind as many times as they need to, but we always worry about the student that will get to practically the end of their senior year and look at us and say, I have no idea what I want to do. That's probably the scariest thing as a counselor I've run into. So we want them to have ideas. We want them to share them with us, and all of us as a team can work together to get them to those careers in the future. We mentioned before, and so did Mr. Pace, about joining something, all those sports and activities and clubs. And oh my gosh, there is so many wonderful things to join. It makes high school more enjoyable. And then last but not least, with teenagers, always try to find a way to say something nice, because that will keep those lines of communication open for you. So now let me turn that back over to Mr. Pace.
All right, so I want to thank the entire team of counselors, administrators from all the different iterations that we're going to have for high school experiences here tonight. But I also want to thank you for joining us. I know this is an hour out of an evening that is precious with our families, and it's something that, you know, is also very important. So I appreciate you taking the time to do that. We know that we have probably overwhelmed you greatly in the past 60 minutes. So know that this will be available to review at your leisure, and know that it's going to be okay, right? There's a lot of decisions and a lot of information, and we're here to help. So take advantage of the team that we have, ask questions as needed, reach out, attend the Zooms on next Monday, and it'll be okay, right? Like we know that when you put things in the form, those are the classes you're going to get. It makes it very hard to change those later as we staff efficiently and so on, but we'll work with you. Right? We'll work with you on the front end, and it really saves a lot of headache on the back end. So we are extremely excited to be welcoming the class of 2025 next year. It will look different than anything we've ever done, but we're hoping that we're going to be able to provide very strong opportunities, no matter how your child learns, for you to navigate the next 4 years and really to start high school fresh and rejuvenated, and really be part of the excitement that we have in Laker Nation. So without further ado, I think the next slide is kind of where to find us physically in the building. And Ms. Eisner, if you had any closing remarks, this would be the time.
I just wanted to thank everyone for coming. I know that there's so much excitement and so many questions, and I just want to reiterate what you've heard from everyone else. we are here for you. While it's your child's high school experience, as parents, we're going through it with our kids. And so we're here to support you as much as we are here to support your kids. We want you to have a great evening. And I want to reassure you that whatever decision you make as a family, be it West Bloomfield High School, to apply to OEC or apply to Innovation High, in choosing West Bloomfield schools, you are really making an exceptional choice for your kids. Have a great night.
As people leave us tonight, there are a couple more questions that were in the Q&A. I'll just answer them live. Our summer classes in person or remote? We're not quite sure at this point in time. Teaching and learning team from the district is still putting the summer program together, but I know we have offered both in the past. So kind of stay tuned for that. Kelly Casanelli, did you have anything extra? No, you're good. Okay. There are electives in the course book that are not options on the Google form. How do I select these? Does any counselor want to help tackle that one for me?
Yeah, I'll take care of that. So there's a couple of possibilities. One could be that a lot of the electives that are in the course book, if they're not on the Google form, it's actually because most freshman students have not met the prerequisites for them. If there's a specific class or something like that that you want to take, think you've met the requirements for, I would recommend putting that in the questions comment section for the counselor on the form. And we'll take a look at that and see how we can see if we can make that work, or that might be one of those classes that we need to make a plan for how to get that as an option for next year.
Thank you, Mr. Hepper. Next question, winter tryouts for sports. The fall sports season starts, I don't have the exact date, but it's usually sometime late second week of August. And if it is a cut sport, you'll receive notification through the West Bloomfield Athletics page. So if you just type in westbloomfieldathletics.com, bookmark it, or go through our website, the online registration forms there. The athletic department will be sending stuff to the middle schools about how to try out or join, and we'll make sure to get that information out there to you. Let's see. 2 questions about this. Wish this could have been done before students submitted their list, or if you want to change your schedule later on and so on. There's still time, right? These aren't due until the 23rd. And if you've already submitted a form, but you learn new things here, just contact the counselor or attend that Zoom session next week. And we'll be able to help you adjust. So again, it'll be okay, and we'll be able to work through that. Couple questions about summer school advancement. The only classes for advancement are phys ed and health to be able to free up the schedule. So you would not take, for example, Algebra 1 in the summer in order to advance, because that would be taking a full year, not a semester course, compacted to 5 weeks. And we're not able to offer that for advancement. So again, the only classes that can count as credit toward advancement, phys ed and health. Can online students participate in sports? Yes, they can do anything that West Bloomfield High School students can do, except for attend classes on campus. Let's see, if we want to take summer school, should we notate that in the comment section on the Google form? You can. I think that would be helpful information for your counselors, and you'll also want to register for it when that becomes available. So it's kind of twofold on that for you. All right, we don't have the option for chat or for live participation. So if anybody else had any other questions, feel free to reach out to the individual counselors or administration, or drop something in the Q&A one last time. Otherwise, we look forward to seeing you all soon. Thank you.